parliamentary process was in play. After we had finished consideration, the draft person had to do a cleaned up version, which I have here. And once that was done, the next step was the third reading. However, when you look at what the draft person has done, if there are any issues, because the draft person have basically incorporated all we did during the consideration stage, if there were any issues, you could arrest the process. And so we as sponsors had indicated to the speaker, and I have the order paper addendum 2 here, which is for Thursday, 15th February 2024. And you can look through, you see the amendments by Honorable Afenyo Market. But if you scroll through, you also see amendments by myself, yes. Samuel Nati George.
Okay.
I had a number of amendments that I had also indicated to the speaker from the on addendum 2 paper that we're going to be filing. Because, for example,
meaning it was not the fact that Afenyo stepped in,
no,
but you would have stepped in anyway.
Without Afenyo, we would have stepped in. And that's why when he moved his motion,
okay,
we had a sponsor of the bill, Honorable Emmanuel Kwesi Bedra, second the motion. Okay. Because we as sponsors had critical things we needed to deal with. For example, we had deleted proper and Ghanaian from the title of the bill.
That's right.
And so the bill is now Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill. However, when you go through what the draft persons had submitted, clause 3, prohibition against subverting Ghanaian family values. So Ghanaian still repeats itself. So you see there are places, human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values in clause 2.
And so, this is in respect of the advice by the Attorney General,
absolutely,
right?
That every bill that becomes law passed by the Parliament of Ghana is Ghanaian. So there is no, it's superfluous to have Ghanaian in the title, which we agreed to. So there are all of those little cleanups we wanted to do. For example, I think that even one of the punishments for persons who broadcast, or in fact it is the prohibition of propaganda of, promotion of, and advocacy for activities.
Which section is this?
This is 10.
Section 10, okay,
yes.
Go ahead.
And this is of the cleaned up. I don't know if you are looking at the old one.
All right.
But I think in the old one it will be 12.
All right.
But in this one it's 10. Prohibition of propaganda of, promotion of, and advocacy for activities prohibited under this act. If you look at 10(1)(b.
Yes, it's in 12 in the old one. It's in
12 in the old one. It says imprisonment of not less than 5 years and not more than 10 years. But I had moved a motion on the floor, which was approved by the House, an amendment, which was approved by the House, to drop this from 5 years minimum to 10 years maximum to 3 years minimum, 5 years maximum. But that has not reflected in this final. So those are some of the things we were arresting the third reading from going ahead to just clean up this. The Honorable Bernard Acheampong, ranking member, had something on unincorporated bodies and the directors, the liability for them. That if it is established that a director had no knowledge of the activity of the platform, you didn't have to necessarily place that person in a position to bear liability. And this is in conformity with the Companies Act. So we just had a few of these cleanups. Then Afenyo, the Honorable Afenyo Markin, my very good friend and big brother, Deputy Majority Leader, came in with his amendments as well.
Okay.
I mean, these amendments he had
at this third reading,
yes,
it is open to all members of Parliament that if you had some input to make, you could bring it in at the third reading.
No, the third reading is actually procedural. If the speaker had completed with his statement and asked all those in favor to say aye, once that was done, that is it. So that's why we had to arrest the third reading and do a second consideration, because all your inputs are supposed to be done at the consideration stage. But the standing orders allow that after consideration, when the cleaned up version is brought, people may still have a few issues. You can arrest the third reading and go back for a second consideration.
That's right.
So Afenyo's motion was to ask the speaker to admit a second consideration of the bill.
Right.
Now, if you read our standing orders, I think it is order 171, 171, 1. It says that you need to arrest it and then have a second consideration. Now, in 1714, you need to explain to the speaker, are you asking for a second consideration of the entire bill
or
portions of the bill? So those were the debates we had and said, look, there are specific amendments, so it can't be to the entire bill. So it is to the specific amendments. And then we went into that, and Afenyo was asked to then start moving his amendments. He moved the first one. And basically, if you read his amendments, about 13 of them, quite a number of them are the same. Basically, asking for all custodial sentences to be replaced by community service. I have taken my time to read his amendments. We did the first one to clause 4. He espoused sound reasons why he thinks that we should do that. I countered with my own understanding. The House was asked to take a vote, and the House sided with my logic and reasoning. And so we proceeded along that line. And I believe that it will replicate itself with all the other instances. Some of his amendments, again, and with the greatest of respect to my senior and very learned honorable member, when he goes about to discuss what he means by counseling and communal sentence and counseling, and goes on to have a counseling program. He must avert his mind to the fact that this is a private member's bill. Because when you set up a counseling program in the manner in which he is setting it up, okay, where it must be administered by the Attorney General's office, and then he goes on to list people who will form the counseling panel. Who's going to pay for this? This will definitely attract costs to the consolidated fund. And that cannot be as part of a private member's bill.